Our next speaker is David Strivings, the Senior Impact Intelligence Analysis person. Oh, sorry, I got the whole organization name off. Senior Impact and Intelligence Analysis, water.org. Thank you.
Is this on? Can you hear me? Great. Well, let me figure out if I can advance here. Yeah, so I'm the Senior Impact Intelligence Analyst for water.org. I'm on the MEL team. Essentially, we have a slightly different name, but that's what we do within the organization. And today I'll share a little bit about how we use mWater, so the same platform that Megan had just introduced, in a slightly different way to conduct household surveys to validate our impact. All right, so around the world, more than 2 billion people lack access to safe water, and more than 3 billion people lack access to safely managed sanitations. And these statistics have huge implications for things like health, for economic development, for education, and so on. And climate change puts these numbers at risk even further. This is the problem, the challenge that water.org exists to try and address. We focus on market-driven approaches to the water and sanitation crisis. We've been around for 30 years. We're founded by Gary White and Matt Damon. And we've reached more than 63 million people with access to safe water or sanitation. We're currently in 11 different countries and work with 140 active partners. And so partners for us include financial institutions, utilities, government entities, banks, MFIs, cooperatives, all sorts of different types of partners. Most of our impact has come through what we call water credit, which are microloans for water or sanitation. The average loan size globally is under $400. We see really high repayment rates, as Anthony had mentioned earlier, of around 98%. Most of the borrowers are women, although that can vary from country to country and depending on the region. And then we also see most of the people that we're reaching are below our poverty threshold of $685 per capita per day. When I started at water.org in June of 2019, so less than 5 years ago, we had just passed 22 million people reached. And so in less than 5 years, we've reached more than 40 million people. And that's a huge amount of impact in a short period of time to try and validate. And so that's where this platform comes in to be so useful and helpful for us. And that platform is mWater. mWater, again, it's a free platform. We use it in a slightly different way than the previous speaker. We don't go to the same site over and over. We meet with households and conduct surveys to understand how those households benefited from their loan, from the information. That's how we collect information on how they use their loan. So for us, mWater is how we validate impact. It's also the one chance that we have to interact directly with the clients who are taking out loans. And so we have lots of questions that we want to ask them. It's important for us to understand their experience with the loan process, as well as how it can be better. And yeah, just the change in experience that they have with access to water before and after. We'll also use mWater for things like baseline and inline studies, for market assessments. So we've conducted market assessments in the last few years in Colombia and Ivory Coast, and I think we're about to do one in Nigeria as well. And then we also use it for other research needs, and towards the end, I can give you an example of that. So typically, when we're conducting a household survey, it looks something like this, where we meet with the client. Typically, it's not the full insights team, it's just an enumerator, but then we conduct a household survey. And our household survey is very long. Too long. It's around 200 questions long. Because of the skip logic, not everyone's going to see 200 questions. They're going to see more like 100 questions. But the survey is really easy. It's the platform and the survey, we can very easily customize it from country to country and depending on our research needs. We then translate it into the local context and hire local enumerators or research firms to conduct the surveys. And they will go out with an iOS or Android device with the app installed on it in order to conduct the surveys. And behind the scenes, we're collecting the GPS coordinates of the household that we're surveying, During the survey, we also asked for photos of the improvements and collect things like the time and date of the survey. In total, the survey typically takes between 30 and 45 minutes, so it can be quite intensive. At times, we've tried using remote surveys, but the data quality has really fallen off a cliff for us, so we tend to rely on in-person surveys. So here's just a sampling of those 200 questions. Many of them are geared towards the experience of the client, what could be better about the loan program, what was their improvement before for water or sanitation, or what was their source of water or sanitation, and what benefits have they seen as a result of their loan. We also ask questions around water availability, quality, quantity, reliability. We have sections on things like climate change, health, time savings, personal safety, finances, client satisfaction, as well as women's empowerment. And overall, we've conducted more than 30,000 surveys. And the primary result, the high level result, is that 91% of the time, the household is using the improvement or using the loan for a water or sanitation improvement, and the resulting improvement is functional. So when we go to the house, the water tap is functional, the latrine is complete, whatever it might be. When we see that that functional and approved rate falls below 90%, that's our threshold, then we discount or we subtract the impact from our database so that we're not overclaiming our impact. What does the evidence say? So 87% of the women that we've surveyed say that their well-being has improved now that they have safe water or sanitation access at home. 81% observed improved health for their families. We see increases in school attendance, time to play, things like that as well. And as we've recently added a section on climate change, about half of the respondents are reporting experiencing climate issues. And of those, we see that climate change is impacting which types of products they're choosing to use the loan for. When it comes to data visualization, we can create dashboards both within mWater that can be shared anonymously with donors. They can be shared with partner organizations so that they can view the results of surveys from their clients. And in this case, this was actually a dashboard from our database that we shared directly with the donor. So this, I believe it was Target Corporation, and they wanted to see some of the results of the surveys that they helped support and fund. And so in this case, it's asking about households with children and the benefits they experience for their children. So we can see that the top answers are around better hygiene, improved health, improved safety, and so on. So how does this guide our programming? As I said, we share the anonymized results with partners to help them improve their product design. If we see low utilization rates, we will adjust our technical assistance for the organization. So perhaps they have issues with their monitoring information system, and so we'll work with them closely to improve that so that the data is more accurate. It can also, on the positive side, it can indicate which financial institutions are in a really healthy state and are able to take on additional investment from impact investors such as Water Equity, which is a sister organization. And for us, all these surveys, they strengthen our evidence base so that when we go to donors or high net worth individuals, we can point to our validation processes and have just a strong evidence base. It's easily defendable. In terms of other research needs, we recently, so most of the borrowers within water credit are households or individuals. But we're seeing more and more often that small and medium enterprises are taking out loans within the water and sanitation space. And so we wanted to better understand how they're using those loans. So in December and January, we created a new survey within mWater geared at those small and medium enterprises. And we did some pilot surveys in Kenya, learned a lot through that experience, and now have hired a research firm to conduct another 100 surveys across East Africa. The results from the surveys will help inform how we provide technical assistance to financial institutions that are supporting SMEs, as well as how we count impact from those enterprises. In each of the cases that we saw during our pilot, the organizations had used the loans for solarization, which we thought was very interesting, and something we're hoping to track more closely as we go forward. So yeah, again, for us, mWater has been a really helpful platform. It's free to use. Data storage is free. There's no license fees. It's a platform that we are really happy to work with. And yeah, for more details, you can visit our website. Thank you.